Well, I think what made this game so hard to watch if you're a Bulls fan is because, in theory, this is a game the Bulls would normally lose. I mean, the Nets are one of the best teams in the league, and despite James Harden being out, you had Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving still playing along with their rotational pieces. So if this was any other regular season game, you would probably chalk this up as a loss for the Bulls and just move on to the next. And let's be honest, the game started off like that in the way that it was headed. Then the Bulls kind of hung around there in the second quarter. They kept themselves within striking distance. But then at the end of the third quarter, the Nets went on a run and ended up closing the quarter up 19 on the game. And I'm sure, like most of you, I thought the game was completely over and that it would end in a blowout. But no, the Bulls actually hung around in this one and even looked like they might end up coming back and winning the game. There, just 2 minutes left to go. You had Zach Lavine come up with some heroic effort shots, but sadly the Nets were just a little too much for the Bulls to overcome. And although our playoff chances had all but dwindled, it is now all but over for the Bulls this season. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Bull Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Guys, I know the Bulls season is basically over, although there is one and only one scenario in that they could still end up making the play-in and getting that 10th spot. And that would be if they win the remainder of their games, defeating the Raptors, the Nets, and the Bucks, and then also having the Wizards lose out for their last 3 games. So yeah, you probably have a better shot at winning the lottery at this point than the Bulls do at making the playoffs. But despite all of that, I will still be doing my hot takes videos every Wednesday, including tomorrow and throughout the offseason. So make sure you're leaving your Bulls hot takes when they come to you. I've already got some really, really good ones for you in tomorrow's video, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, back to this game. Look, I've said it in a lot of my post-game videos recently, really ever since, Lavine and Vucevic were back in the lineup. And that's that this Bulls team has to close out the season strong, regardless of whether they make the playoffs or not, because it establishes themselves as an up-and-coming team despite the up and down year that they've had in this evaluation year with guys being out due to COVID and making big moves at the trade deadline. So I've emphasized the importance of the guys showing that in these final games, the chemistry continues to be built and getting better. The defense has been improving. The younger guys are continuing to develop further. They're fixing their issues, again, on defense and taking better care of the basketball. And knowing that the Bulls would be playing some tough teams down the stretch that I mentioned, even in losses to these teams, as long as they could continue to display that and do it consistently, it would bode well for them going into free agency. And I know that a lot of guys were frustrated in the live chat tonight saying, well, here we go again, the Bulls are back up to their old ways, which granted, parts of the game, the Bulls did not look good. I mean, looking at that first quarter, they were completely lost on defense, but they recovered nicely on the defensive end. And come on, they're playing one of the best offensive teams in the league. The Nets are going to make a lot of teams look lost on defense throughout a game. On top of that, the Bulls only turned the ball over 9 times, yet again a single turnover game. Another key that I mentioned in seeing the Bulls is that they cannot turn over the basketball in double digits for the rest of the season to show signs of improvement in that area. Their shooting was okay overall, but actually they shot decently well from 3, at least in the second half. Anyway, they closed out the game shooting 41% from deep. And I know Vucevic had an off game for him. However, the chemistry has been looking a lot better from what we initially saw after the trade deadline, when a lot of people were saying these guys clearly don't fit, nor do they work well together, and that this was a bad trade. Vucevic had a lot of great assists to Lavine tonight and setting screens for him to get to the basket at the right time. And that camaraderie you can see is starting to develop, whether it's on the bench or on the court. So with all of this, the Bulls still are playing consistently well in these final games. I know it may not seem like it because they just lost and they all but got eliminated from playoff contention. However, the team has, for once, started showing some consistency for the first time this season, with the majority of their team being healthy. I know we're without Troy Brown Jr., but outside of that, the team is playing at full strength. And of course, it helps to see that Lavine didn't lose a beat after being out for nearly 4 weeks from COVID, and had himself an incredible game tonight. He did, from time to time go back to his hero ball antics, but in a way, I kind of get that, given the fact that this is a must-win game for the Bulls, and Vucevic, his co-star, was having an off night. But 41 points for Zach Lavine, yet another 40-point game for him this season, shooting 15 for 27, 6 for 11 from 3. Like I said, though, I would love to see him use those playmaking skills that he has. Only 1 assist tonight. Have to see Lavine get more than just 1 assist for the game. Now, Vucevic, an off night for him, only 12 points, shooting an abysmal 5 for 18 from the floor. He could just not find his shot tonight at all. However, he did have 12 rebounds and 6 assists to go along with his 12 points. He actually led the team in assists tonight, which that's a problem in and of itself. Your assist leader should not be finishing the game with just 6 assists. I mean, this is a problem the Bulls have struggled with for quite a few years now. We have never really had a true pass first point guard, not in a long time. I mean, you could argue we had Rondo, but he wasn't averaging 9+ assists a night for the Bulls. Rose obviously was a great passer in his prime in his MVP years, but obviously more of a score first point guard. Really, the recent years is where the Bulls have struggled in finding a truly good floor general and passer in this recent rebuild. Which leads me to Coby White. Not a bad game for him per se, but also not a good one. What was good to see was that he again has been taking care of the basketball. Not a single turnover for a point guard in 37 minutes of play is very, very good, but a really off shooting night for him. Only going 6 for 17 from the floor. Didn't actually make it to the foul line at all tonight. He had 16 points and 4 assists, but overall, I mean, still better than what we were seeing from Coby, which led to him ultimately getting benched. And boy, do I still need to see more from Patrick Williams. I know he's a rookie, and I know that it's going to take some time for him to develop, probably longer than most NBA prospects, and I still think he will get there, but really need to see him showing up well and closing out the season so that free agents start taking note of that, of an up-and-coming talent and potential of a team that they're potentially looking to want to join. Only 5 points on 2 attempts. He's got to be putting up more shots than that. He also only had 1 rebound as well. Need to see him crashing the boards more. He was also -16 tonight, a team worse in terms of box plus minus. Anyway, obviously, we were hoping the Bulls would win out their remaining schedule. Didn't happen, and now we're at the mercy of the Wizards losing the remainder of their games and the Bulls winning all of theirs. The Wizards take on the Hawks tomorrow, and if they win that game, the Bulls will be officially eliminated from the postseason. But my hope is that they'll continue to close out their last 3 games strong, playing consistently well, and then getting ready for the offseason, as it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Bulls, to say the least. I'll be out with my weekly Bulls Hot Takes video tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. Until then, though, guys, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I do post daily Bulls content. Thanks again, as always, for tuning in, and I will catch you guys in the next one.